Hello, my name is Rasmus and I am a level designer. This is a presentation of my L4D2 map Tricycle Factory. During 3 weeks I worked half-time on this survival mode map. My goal was to make a small and fluent map that forced the player to be mobile and rapidly finding new vantage points. When planning the basic layout of the level, I decided to let the gameplay revolve around a central building with the majority of enemies coming from 3 different directions. I wanted to achieve a vertical flow by letting players easily access a roof in the center of the map and be able to jump down on any side of the building. The first direction where enemies will come from was planned to be rotated 45 degrees to limit the amount of corners that the player might get stuck in. Unfortunately, it was much harder to make this work with the navigation mesh system, so I redesigned the building and softened the corners with props instead. The second point of entrance was over the fence. I obscured the vision with a small guardhouse and lit up the road, so that the player could see an approaching enemy without being able to eliminate the threat before it had entered the player area. To make it hard to control all the entrance points, I placed a third major point of entrance on a flat roof. The zombies were able to jump down on the ground from the roof and from the trailer. They are also able to cross over the pipes directly to the central building's roof. I added minor spawn points in between the major entrance points to intensify the gameplay and make the enemy more unpredictable. The player spawns in the central building, facing the ham radio and 4 weapons. This room is hard to hold. Enemies can enter from 2 doors on opposite sides of the building, from the driveway opening and from the roof. Special infected can easily use abilities that flushes out the player, making this a bad place to make a stand. The roof is only accessible by the player from a broad staircase. The platform have a broken railing to ensure that the player can take a shortcut and outmaneuver the enemy. I didn't want the roof to be a place where the players gathered and held out for an extended period. Enemies coming from the factory is hard to control from here due to the many windows and short distance to the building. I placed props to further obscure the line of sight to the chain link fence without blocking the line of sight completely. The third spawn point is impossible to control from the ground, but from the roof it is easy to manage enemies approaching from this direction. I wanted to let the players hold out up here for a little while. I also wanted the different entrance points to be controllable from one spot each. Enemies can enter from more directions than the player. In addition to the stairs, zombies can climb up the drainage and access the roof across the pipes. I didn't place any walls or railings around the roof to ensure that special infected could use abilities from several directions. I also wanted the player to be able to escape on all sides. A fall to the ground damages the player considerably, but it is safe to jump from the roof to the container, the truck and the 2 awnings, and to the ambulance. To help the players find these paths, I placed weapons on both the container and the truck. I also placed some painkillers on the ambulance. There is no ammo or medkits on the roof, so players must eventually leave it to resupply. The pipes are uncrossable by the players. To communicate this, hot steam is pouring out of it. If I wanted to make the map bigger, it would be easy to allow players to cross the pipes, and I would only have to build an additional player area here. I placed the items around the map to reward players when they are on the move. To limit needless frustration, there is 2 ammo piles on opposite sides of the map. Additional weapons is placed where an aware player might notice them and get rewarded for observing the environment. After the second week of development, I posted the map on Steam Workshop on forums like World of Level Design, Mapcore, Game Banana and Left 4 Dead maps. I got a lot of valuable feedback and I made a fix list based on it. I tried to respond to the person who pointed out a problem after I fixed it and created a dialogue with the community. This helped me to find a big problem I had with the lighting and resolve it, which improved gameplay significantly. While receiving the feedback, I also started to facelift parts of the map. I redid the central building because of its importance and high visibility from the whole map. I also added more detail and improved the aesthetics across the map. Finally, I added a thematic focal point. And I added small details like shelves for the items at the spawn point. And of course, no Left 4 Dead map is complete without a cheesy tagline. There is a link to the map below if you want to try it out. Thank you for watching and contact me if you have opinions or feedback on the map or on this video. Thank you.